Good evening. This is Making the Case. I'm Yodit Tewolde. The jury in Kim Potter's manslaughter trial enters day 3 of deliberations and still no verdict. Speculation that this trial could end in a hung jury is now growing. The jury deciding the fate of the former officer charged with killing Daunte Wright asked 2 questions yesterday, one of which suggested jurors could be having a hard time agreeing on a verdict. And today, after another full day of deliberations, we heard absolutely nothing from the sequestered jury. So in the meantime, I've got 2 legal experts with me tonight to talk about what all of this could mean. Adante Pointer is a civil rights attorney, and C.K. Hoffler is the immediate past president of the National Bar Association. Glad to have you 2 here to help put things into perspective for folks who can't seem to understand why the jury is taking so long to come to a decision. Now, unless you've served on a jury, this is no easy task. You know, jurors have to make a decision that will ultimately alter the life of the defendant and others invested in this trial's outcome. They also have to make a decision that they can live with for the rest of their lives. CK, should folks be concerned about a deadlocked jury, or is this the process the jury needs to work through?
First of all, good evening. I think that people should be concerned about a deadlocked jury. In this case, in terms of the evidence, there's ample evidence, in my humble impression, for a conviction of Kim Potter. Conviction on first-degree manslaughter, conviction on second-degree manslaughter. Without a question, I think there's sufficient evidence that she was culpably negligent at a minimum, but also that she was reckless and that she violated her duties as a police officer. But that has to be countered with the very emotionally and moving to some testimony that Kim Potter gave, where she explained what happened. Mm-hmm. And it was clear that she was moved. I mean, some question, her motives for crime. I mean, obviously, she knew that she could go to jail. She said that, but she was moved, and it was clear that she didn't perhaps not intend to shoot and kill Daunte Wright, but she did. And in my impression, she was reckless. So I think the jury is fighting and struggling with putting away a 26-year veteran police officer for a number of years behind bars for something that could have been a mistake, even if she was reckless. And I think there might be jury nullification here. So I think we do need to be concerned. I think we could have a situation where there's a hung jury. The best case scenario for accountability, in my impression, would be second-degree manslaughter. And that's the best case scenario. But I'm leaning more towards a hung jury. And I hope that we don't see an acquittal.
Adante, your thoughts. Is the jury having to wrestle with the idea that, yes, Kim Potter made a mistake, she admitted to making that mistake, but is that mistake a crime?
Yeah, I mean, I think the jury is wrestling with the idea of coming to some sort of verdict, which would probably be a compromise between the people on the jury who feel, as C.K. Hoffler expressed, that it's beyond a reasonable doubt, it's beyond really question that Ms. Potter, or former disgraced Officer Potter, is guilty. But there's going to be people on the jury who see it the other way, who did fall for the emotionally laden testimony, and or look at a person who kind of says, hey, she woke up that day, went about her job for 26 years. She didn't intend to kill anybody. Do we want to punish this person in the way in which the law prescribes? But at the same time, because the jury is not being allowed to just declare a mistrial or being deadlocked, then they have to try to work through and negotiate amongst themselves as to whether they can come to some sort of compromise verdict, which in this situation may be the second-degree manslaughter charge. But at the same time, if they can't come to a compromise verdict, then it'll be hung, and the state will be forced to make a decision on whether or not to try this case again.
Guys, let's talk about the timeline for the jury. I mean, this is the second trial we've covered where a jury deliberated right before a major holiday. The jury in the trial against the 3 white men now convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery there in Georgia, CK, came back with a verdict the day before Thanksgiving. And unlike those jurors, this jury is sequestered during deliberations. So with the Christmas holiday coming up this weekend, will that put extra pressure on some of these jurors to maybe even compromise their votes to come to a consensus in order to enjoy their time with their family with the trial finally behind them?
Absolutely. I think without a question, one of the things I actually love trying cases around the holidays, particularly civil cases. And the reason for that is because people in a civil trial are more generous. If jurors are going to give you money, they're going to give you more money around the holidays. They're feeling more generous. And so, as a trial lawyer, plaintiff's lawyer, I love that. But what I will say is this: they've been deliberating. This is a very emotionally drenching, I think, case for these jurors, no matter which side they fall on. So I think they want to be home with their families. They don't want to come back after Christmas. And I believe that there's probably dissension in the room. You probably got two camps, and one camp is trying to convince the other camp, and they're having a hard time. They've gone to the judge and said, hey, what happens if we can't come together on a verdict, unanimous verdict? And the judge basically said, keep on going, get it done, get the job done. And they're deliberating for another, now a day and a half, almost 2 days since they approached the judge with that. So I think they're going to try and get this done before the holiday. My concern is if they are no longer sequestered and if they go home for the holiday, that's going to put a fly in the ointment, because for sure their families are going to have an opinion and their friends as it relates to this trial. And I think the sequestration is going to be important for this particular trial and this jurisdiction at this time in history.
Daunte, you have any thoughts?
I would think that from the prosecutor's perspective, coming up close to this Christmas holiday is putting a lot of pressure and/or swinging the scales, if you will, tipping the scales in their favor. You know, the officer will get to enjoy her holiday one way or another with her family, but at least they'll get to see her and so on and so forth. The only person who's not going to be at a holiday table, and there's no question, as will not show up, will not be ringing the doorbell, will not be enjoying all the things that we enjoy with our families during the holiday season, is Daunte Wright. And so, if you, as sometimes we say, there's an empty seat or an empty chair, that chair is Daunte Wright's. And so that's going to be a hard thing, I would think, for a jury to have to think through and deal with when we talk about the holiday season. So I think coming up on the holiday swings in the prosecution's favor.
Oh, that's so interesting, because I think it's totally the opposite. I think this is a bad sign for the prosecution. If the jury is going to have to come back with a verdict, I think they're going to err on the side of caution and go with a not guilty if they had to make a decision. CK, the amount of time this jury is taking is definitely, again, like I said, a bad sign for the prosecutors. What do you think is giving the jurors pause? I know you talked about Potter's testimony could be the draw, that she was a sympathetic one. She showed remorse, but also, how many times can a judge really retire the jury back to the deliberation room? I mean, how many times is it appropriate? If they were to come back to court and say, Judge, we're deadlocked, how many more times can she force them to go back without compromising the integrity of the trial?
Well, I think that this judge, and actually all judges, they take this notion that the jury should try to do everything and exercise as much energy and effort as possible to reach a consensus very seriously. And I think she's determined to get a verdict. She wants a verdict. I actually think that her judicial temperament has been quite appropriate. I think she's going to push them as much as she can because she wants to leave no stones unturned. Unlike other judges that we've seen in some of these high-profile cases, this judge is very intentional, deliberate. She has a lot of calm about her, but she's a force to be reckoned with. So I think she's going to push them a little bit more, and whatever she's doing appears to be working because they're sitting in there and they are doing what they need to do to try at least to get a consensus verdict. So if they had done everything they could have done, they would not be deliberating for an extra 2 days from the first day. When it appeared on the first day, they might have a verdict or not a verdict. And then they came and said, look, what happens the second day? But yet they've deliberated at least another 10 hours since then. So I think that her approach is probably working. Now, my view of the world is these jurors have made up their mind. There's probably one holdout on one side or the other. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to probably see. And if that one holdout is strong and is a leader, they will have a hung jury.
Okay, so if the jury is deadlocked and the judge finally declares a mistrial, Adante, explain for viewers what that means for both sides.
Well, you've gotten a chance. This turns into a dress rehearsal of sorts. Okay, it's almost a practice run. You've got a chance to see your opponent's strategy. You see their strengths and weaknesses in their case, as well as your own. And you're going to go back, assuming that this gets tried again, and you're going to tweak your presentation and the evidence. Go back, pour over all of the trial testimony, and think which you can improve upon. And also, if you get a chance to talk to these jurors at all, an opportunity to hear what resonated with them, because ultimately this is
Hmm.
about presenting your case to a jury and getting them to buy into your story and giving them enough ammunition, pardon the pun, but enough that they can then go into that jury room and fight for you and your position in the case. So, I know both sides would be very interested in speaking to the dismissed jurors in order to better understand what was it that they actually either hung on, or what were the things that were positives that they possibly need to push harder on, that they may not have given due consideration as it relates to how a jury would interpret the evidence.
No, I mean, speaking to jurors after a trial, I mean, it's a treasure trove of information for both sides to learn from. But usually, if you can find one juror hanging back to talk to you, you're lucky. CK, is this a case prosecutors will want to retry?
I think Keith Ellison would want to retry this case if for some reason there's a hung jury. I believe that he would want to retry the case because I believe that he would want to do exactly what was just said, tweak it, figure out what it was, and get it right. Because let's just think about what it would mean, what it could mean if Kim Potter were acquitted. That could mean to many of us that we're stopped by the police, whether it's legitimate or not, for something that's minor, a
Hmm.
misdemeanor, something that's not really so significant. And we could get shot and get killed. Some mistake could be made. They could mean to pat us on the head or do whatever and shoot and kill us. And there may not be accountability. That would be devastating. If ever there were a sign for anyone and everyone to understand the need for policing reform, all they need to do is look at this case.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, and that begs the question, if the statute that they're applying here in this case or charging Kim Potter with, if that doesn't apply in this case, then when does it apply? All right, guys, final predictions from you both. Do we get a decision either way from this jury tomorrow? And if so, what is it? Adante.
I think there'll be a lot of pressure from the jury to want to get out of there. Hey, they're going to do holiday shopping too that they'd like to do. However, at the same time, I could see them not reaching a verdict, and the idea that we'll be here Friday, Christmas Eve, trying to figure this out, and the judge, I would think, would keep them all the way to the afternoon and then let them go. So I could see something coming down tomorrow, but I actually see it happening on Friday, early Friday morning.
Well, I'm not going to be on TV talking about it on Friday. I'm just telling you that. CK, your thoughts?
I think they're going to try and get it done before Christmas. And if you want a prediction of what it's going to be, if there's any chance of accountability, it will be second-degree manslaughter. I don't think there's a chance that it's going to be first degree. I think it'll be second degree, but I think there is a possibility. Oh, and to think about that, there is a possibility that she will be acquitted.
At this point, I don't even know what's going to happen. Yesterday I thought they were going to split the baby and just at least convict her on one of the two. But at this point, it's going into day 3 now, day 4. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. All right, guys, attorneys Adante Pointer and CK Hoffler, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.